Welcome to Weekend Shelf Control with me, Liam.
And me, Frankie.
And today we are doing Frankie's reading wrap up for June. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So these are all the books that Frankie read in June with ratings and thoughts and feelings, all spoiler free.
So the first book I finished in June, I started in May, but I didn't have enough time to finish, which is Meet the Newmans by Jennifer Niven. And I have this lovely, it's got the focus. Do I have to hide my face? There we go.
Very
Lovely
nice. That's
pictures.
very cool.
So which is just the pictures on the back of the family.
Yeah.
So the Newmans are, this is set in the 60s. And the Newmans are like a TV family. They have like a sitcom. They've been doing shows for a decade. It's like the couple and their two sons. One of the sons is a musician, so he's also become a pop idol, I guess it would have been back then. So they are struggling in the ratings now as we head into, I think it's 64. So times are changing from the sort of 50s family sort of ideal that they have on the show. So they're working out how they can keep the ratings, if the show will be able to keep going. And then the father has an accident and he can't... he's like the guy that sort of writes everything and overtakes it. So then they have to sort of figure out what they're doing. The wife comes into contact with a reporter who sort of has a very feminist way of thinking and is like, you do nothing on the show. You're just there to cook their meals and, whatever. Everyone else has the storylines. And so they start working together to write. It's a big thing to write the finale for the episode, but basically it focuses on each member of the family sort of has stuff going on, and so it's mainly following the wife, but it is also following the two sons a bit as well. And it's kind of just, they're trying to break free from their movie personas and the family dynamic that they have with the father, and wanting to sort of be themselves rather than being this TV version of themselves. So it was pretty interesting. It wasn't like amazing, but I did find it interesting to follow and see what was going to happen and how it was going to turn out and what they were going to be able to do for this final episode, and if they would keep the show going and all of that, because they're also chasing sponsorship for the show, because the sponsors, of course, aren't happy with the ratings. So yeah, it was just something a bit different.
Does it have any One Division kind of vibes to it?
Any what?
One
Division. I thought you said One Division, and I'm like, what is that?
One Division, the Marvel show.
Yeah, I guess so, because I think the main thing is, I know of the show, I never watched it, but Ozzie and Harriet, because it's very American. So, but I do know that had the son that became a famous singer. The name is escaping me. But it was a name I knew growing up just from the music, but he was in this TV show. So I guess because WandaVision covered a lot of different sitcoms over the decades. So yeah, you would have a bit of that. They would have been taking from these 50s family vibes. But yes, at different times. Like the wife is, in the magazines, and that they will have, here's my favorite recipe for, doing this, and she'd put a recipe and just this is what you should do for your husband, and have things nice when he comes home from work and all of that, and just how times were changing to move beyond that.
Yeah. Okay.
But yes, okay. This is weird that I'm just off to my next one instead
What
of throwing over to
did you
you.
give the rating for
I
that
did.
one?
I gave it, I think, 3.5.
Okay.
I think because it didn't blow me away, but it was interesting, and also it does have a little bit of a what's going to happen thread with what's going on that does keep you reading to see what's going to happen. And I also didn't know exactly what type of book it was, so I didn't know if it was going to take a turn into something else, which it didn't. I think because I saw something, this author apparently has a book that's a little bit controversial for some reason. And so I think I had in my head, like, is she that kind of author, or is it just that particular book, which I don't remember what the book was. But yes, I would be interested in looking at what other books she has, because I think she's got quite a few. After that, I read The Detective by Matthew Reilly because it arrived. It's one that I read straight away. I was intrigued by the cover. This is set in the American South, sort of Texas into Louisiana, crosses over both, because I think he's based in Austin, but the story takes him there. So this is about a detective called Sam Speedman, who is a very cool character. He is following this case who basically women have been going missing for 150 years, and he's noticed the pattern that, you know, it's not precise, but every so often it'll be 4 women go missing, and he was investigating the latest version of it happening. But he has also noticed that people investigating it have also gone missing or been killed, or, you know, basically bad things happen to those who are investigating. And then there's a big storm, like a hurricane comes through, and this baby doll is found that has like a dead baby inside it. And the DNA testing links to the girl that Sam was investigating. Uh-oh. So the DNA matches to the woman that went missing that Sam is investigating. So that sort of leads him to the location where it was found and further investigations. And he also ends up meeting a woman from the FBI, and they're also looking into things. And I won't get into spoilers because I don't think there's much more than this. But yes, it was very interesting. It's like obviously a big thriller story, so it's finding out what's going on with these girls and what's happening, and also the situations that he finds himself in and how it's all going to work out. So, yes, really good. This was my first Matthew Reilly. I had been planning to read his series that starts with the 7 Ancient Wonders or something, and then the titles count down. I think he's been on my radar for as long as I can remember. I think he's got a book called Area 7 or something that came out way back. But yes, so I read this series. I've pre-ordered the second book, and I will still get to the other series, but I'm not sure when, because I have so many other books and I don't own any of his books. And I'm trying not to buy any. So for now, I'll stick with this series. I've pre-ordered book 2, which is out in September.
My favourite thing is you saying, I'm trying not to buy any, immediately followed by, I've pre-ordered book 2.
Well, I just mean I've pre-ordered that because it's a series I've started that's out later in the year, and I'm not going to buy his other series that I don't own. This is what I meant.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not completely limiting myself from purchasing.
No.
But I'm trying to be good about not starting way more series than I'm completing or catching up with, because that is a problem for me, and I have a lot of series on the go. Speaking of, the next book I read, Demons of Good and Evil by Kim Harrison, and this is the one I picked up.
I can't wait to hear all about this one. I'm so excited.
Yeah, book 17, so let's dive in. This is the library hardcover one I picked up recently, but I also had the mass market. So it's pretty cool to have like travel size and then big size. So obviously I can't say anything about this really because it's book 17. Even mentioning some characters would be a spoiler for this series. So I will just say I really loved it. And I will say that book 1 is Dead Witch Walking. And I highly recommend this series. And it is... So Rachel Morgan is a witch. And she basically... there was a virus that wiped out most of the human population. And kind of supernatural beings revealed themselves. And so now they live alongside the humans. And this funny thing, the virus was in tomatoes, so now humans are scared of tomatoes. So that's a pretty funny random thing. So Rachel is a runner with the Inderland Runner Services, which is basically she goes out to capture criminals of the supernatural variety. So she tries to leave. She wants to start her own place, but no one leaves the IS. So she is marked as a dead witch walking. So she's got to try and like pay off her contract with them and not die. And this first book focuses on her exposing one of these like top businessmen as running a drug thing, being like a drug lord. So she is up against him is the main plot of this first book. But she leaves to start her own agency with Ivy, who also worked there, who is a vampire. She's still living. So basically you have your living vampires, and then when they die, they become undead. So
so wait, are they like zombie vampires or just like your normal undead vampires?
You're kind of like a normal vampire, but you don't need blood. I think blood is more optional when you're living, and it's more like a like a fun thing you could do with another person.
Yeah, like recreational, not survival.
Yeah, so you still have sort of vampire abilities and whatever, but like you're fine during the day and all of that. So in that way, and then once you die, then you become your more sort of traditional vampire. And there's also the Pixie Jenks who the three of them sort of form their own company, or want to form their own company and do their own jobs. So it's you just sort of meeting them and following this plot, and it goes on for 18 books. I've got one more, then I'm up to date, and then there's a new one out next year. I haven't really heard anyone talk about this series, but I highly recommend it, and more people should read it. So that it's an urban fantasy series. There's a bit of romance in that she has partners, but it's not like full on like a lot of paranormal, it's not paranormal romance. It's just so urban fantasy, but there is, she has relationships. So there is some...
Speaking of like long-running urban fantasy series that have like vampires and supernatural elements and this sort of thing, how does it compare to something like what you've read of the Dresden Files?
Well, I've only read 2 books, so I feel like I've barely been into it. What I have read of Dresden Files seems very limited to him. Like, I don't know if the series really opens up, but at the moment, from what I remember of what I have read, there's not a huge world building circle of characters. But I don't know. I mean, I can't remember what the first few books of this are like and how much you get either. I've been in this world so long now that it just feels, I'm like, hello, my friends, because you've got vampires, you've got werewolves, you've got demons, banshees. Not in every book things come and go, except of course you've got Ivy is a living vampire, so you've got a lot of vampire stuff all the time. Jenks is a pixie, so you've got that, but it's not a huge thing. It's just, he's part of the group, so you hear about pixie stuff. But it's mainly vampires, and werewolves and witches are the three main, and the demons are the main sort of recurring types. But yes, definitely recommend. There's so much that happens. There's really great world building and characters coming and going, and plot things from previous books might come back and, affect things in later books and all that fun stuff. So, yes, that is why she's my sort of co-favorite author, because of this series. She has a few other books in different series, which I haven't got to yet, which I really need to. But yes, the Hollows series is really fantastic.
And your rating for that book?
I can't remember. I gave it a 4 or a 4.5. It's really good. Maybe I gave it a 4, I think. Because half the thing with the book is, favorite characters and things happening, and then half of it is the specific plot for this particular book. So it's always a bit mixed when you get so many books into it and you're just happy with certain characters turning up and stuff like that. So
yeah, that makes sense.
It was very good. So it's good to have a series that still has really good books. She actually did finish the series at one stage, and had a little sort of epilogue, like in the future, little what's happening for some of the main characters. And then a few years later, she started writing again, and
so do they take place after the epilogue, or are they like building up more towards the epilogue?
No, well, I don't know if it's building towards the epilogue or she just decided that didn't happen, because it's still in the future of
okay,
what's I think.
I'd be curious if anything has happened.
Actually, I don't know. The epilogue wasn't a huge thing. It was just like a moment in time, but in the future. Yeah. So, actually, now that I think about it, I can't remember enough detail to know if that related to some stuff or if it was separate.
Okay.
But anyway, when she came back to the series, it did pick up from where the main story left off, and has continued on, and the books have been really strong. So I'm really glad that she came back. So the final book I read in the month was a romance, although not as romancy as I thought. So Ambush of the Heart by Mary Connealy.
Okay, hold up. Before you start talking about this, can I try and predict from the cover alone what this is about?
Yeah. Or if you remember when I mentioned some details last in the hall.
I do not. Okay. So you've got rugged, handsome man in America, and he's a traveller. He's wandering the land.
Can I give you a clue?
Yeah.
Look what's on his jacket.
Yeah, is he like a sheriff? Is that a little sheriff badge?
He is a marshal.
A marshal.
So similar, yeah.
Yeah, and he comes into a town, and his heart is the heart that gets ambushed. That's my prediction.
Well, I mean, you're kind of half right. So this is a story about a group of marshals who are transporting a prisoner to be hanged. And the train they were going to travel on can't be... there's a storm or something anyway, so the train can't run. So they decide they're going to ride to the place. And then there's a woman and her brother who were also meant to be traveling on the train to go visit their parents at a fort. So they say, can we ride along with you? So they're riding along. The prisoner who... he had like escaped previously from prison.
Yeah.
And that's why they're transporting him now. And basically his family has come to ambush them traveling
All right. Okay.
to get him back. So there's a bit of a standoff. They don't get the prisoner, and then basically they are sort of on the run to avoid them and to try and get where they are going. And the brother gets injured badly, so the sister, who is Delaney, she is sort of riding, helping. She's not like a useless character. Like she knows stuff about riding and outdoors and whatever. So it's not that. She's like helping them a lot with stuff. And basically my main plot of the story is they are trying to get through the wilderness, and they have to go into like really rugged land. They do get split up at one stage where an accident happens and two of the characters, something happens, and then they don't know if they survived what happened, but they're split up. So you kind of got your two perspectives, because spoiler, they did survive, and you're following what happened to them. And then so it's not as heavy romance as I thought. Like the sister does fall for one of the marshals, the guy on the cover, I'm guessing, because he's like the main marshal. But the story is more about their travels than the romance, which was quite nice. So you had the romance, you had them falling for each other and whatever, but it was more about the journey of trying to survive. And because there's a lot of thing with prisoners and people trying to escape and rugged terrain, and then they sort of meet some other people, and the parents of the brother and sister also come in later because they haven't turned up when they were meant to. So then they're like, where are they? We should go look and try and figure out what happened to them. So yes, I quite liked it. It was pretty good. It was nice. So I think there's a second book in the series comes out early next year, I think. So I'll have to see what happens with that. There is kind of I do wonder if it's going to be a direct sequel to this, or if it's going to follow a character that's not involved with the direct sequel, or like what's happening. Because it does kind of wrap up one part of it. As far as the romance goes. So I don't know if they're going to continue with them, or if they're like, well, we kind of wrapped up that romance, so let's go give one of the other characters some romance. So we'll see. I should probably go read the synopsis for the next book, but I haven't done that yet.
What was your rating out of 5?
I think I gave it 3.5.
Okay, that's not bad.
Because it was a good book. It wasn't I can't wait to get back and see what's going to happen next, but it was really interesting, especially focusing on traveling through, like, really, it's kind of like a lot of it was wilderness where probably no one really went. There were no trails or whatever, and they were just trying to figure stuff out. So in that way, it was more interesting. I did think it would be more romance heavy than it was, which was a good thing that it kind of wasn't, because I like romance, but sometimes I want more focus on the story and what's happening. And it was pretty good having the whole marshal prisoner aspect to it. Because movies, doing what you did earlier, books of this type can sometimes not really care about the plot, and they're more about the characters and the like talking and what discussions about things, whereas sometimes you just want a bit more plot. So I'm glad that I had it. And that was it. I did start another book that I was hoping to finish in June. I wanted to get to 5 because I seem to read 4 books per month. Seems to be what I have been doing nearly every month this year, and my page count has been a little bit varied, but I will say though, my page count as of the end of June is more than what I read in the entirety of last year, because I had I had a terrible reading year last year. That's partly why I'm like, I need to get back into reading because I really like it. And so, yeah, I've been doing pretty well.
Good.
So that is my June. And we will be back soon with Liam's June to see how he went.
Slightly different vibes to yours, but
Yeah.
we'll get to that.
Cool. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time.